So now the next step before we prepare to do lighting and settings, this is sim preparation, getting ready for the actual action. So we do need some views from the aerial view or the top view to understand how light is behaving and all those things to understand the project. We are going to put the object in like a, we are going to create few layers for the scene. So I will go ahead and select this roof item. And then here in the layer panel, I will go ahead and click on add selected actor to a new layer. And I will name it as roof. And then I will hide this. I will select anything, any other things that are part of the roof, like this one, and add it here. You can skip this if you want. Only the roof item you can go ahead and add on the roof. So anytime we want to see how things behave, I can go ahead and switch. And I can also go ahead and create a bookmark for the roof. So bookmark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch this on. Okay. So now, even before we are going to add any lights, we are going to add post-processing in the scene. So I'll go ahead and create a new level. Then I will create an empty level. I will name it as SLV light underscore wave. So this is main level. This means this level will consist post-process volume for the scene, the sunlight and the skylight, specific to sun and sky. So sun, sky and post-process. If you happen to use sun as well in the scene. If you don't want to use sun, then it will consist post-process and the skylight. If you don't want to use skylight, that is like, I don't think you should not be using skylight. You should be using a skylight every time. So if you are using without sun, just use post-process and then skylight. If you want to use sun and sky both, then with this level will hold 3 items mainly. Post-process, sunlight if you want to use sunlight in the scene, and then a skylight. So because of that reason, we are going to go ahead and name this level as SLV light main. Again, I will go ahead, right click here and then change this to always loaded. Press Ctrl Shift S to save it. And now I'm going to add a post-process volume in the scene. So I'll go here in place actor, type post, and then we can go ahead and drag and drop a post-process volume. And then I can go ahead and reset this to 000. And then I will name this post-process volume as PPV. And then also I will go ahead and name this as PPV here. Right click and set it to, while this PPV selected APV. So if I have to select the post-process volume, or if I am on any other level, and here in the outliner, you can see it's only in current level. So if you switch it off, you can go ahead and select it from the post-process. But to select the post-process volume, you'll have to go ahead and type post or PPV, then select this. That is going to spend some time. And if you have already made a layer for this, so no matter, and if I go ahead and switch this on, and if I am on the main level where I can see things, because of this only current level, the current level object on the current level only be shown in the outliner, and I want to see select post-process volume. For that, I will have to go to like this and then switch it off and then click and then PPV. And then select. But if we have created a PPV layer, and this is very helpful only in current level. So I will recommend using this because it will be showing only the things that are actually present on a specific layer, a specific level, and that helps a lot. You will see how it will help us. So in that case, I will go ahead and then even if you are on any level, you can just go ahead and click on PPV and then in PPV deselect, click PPV, and it's selected. So you don't need. You can just select it from any point of time or at any point of time. Okay, so once PPV is added, let's go ahead and do the basic setup of the post-process volume. Absolute basic settings. Later on, we'll be going ahead and doing the complete post-process settings. So we'll start from the bloom. So in the method, we will be switching to convolution, and then intensity will be switching it on. Then we'll go to exposure, metering method, we'll set it to manual. Then exposure compensator, will switch it on. Apply physical camera exposure, we'll switch it off. And you will, like, this is where I like to work. You can use it, but if you have to work at your own way, then you will be watching my tutorial. You can just go ahead and use your way. But if it's all about how I do cinematic and how you can do like me, then this is the way. It's like I always keep it off. Then chromatic aberration, we are not going to use it for now. Local exposure, not for now. Lens flare, not for now. And then we will be going to global illumination. It should be lumen with default settings. Then we will be going to lumen. And then in the lumen, we will be setting this to, in this ray lighting method, we will be switching it to high heat lighting for reflection. And in this lumen reflection also, we set to lumen. And then we can go ahead and here high quality translucency, nothing else. So method lumen, switch on, rating with high quality reflection, high like heat lighting for reflection, then high quality translucency. Rest, keep everything default as of now. We'll come back to this later. And then film grain, you can go ahead and add 0.25 if you like. It's up to you. It's like optional. Other are compulsory for a higher fidelity sequence. Path tracing, you can go ahead and we will be checking the entire workflow like lighting in path tracing for few times just to be sure how it looks. Then the way I will be doing the lighting will work in lumen along with the path tracing. So after the scene is done and you have rendered the cinematic using lumen and now you want to render image, a very high fidelity image, then you can switch to path tracing and render. And if the lighting is not done in a way where it is ready for both of them, then you will be in a little bit trouble. You have to do things. And then lumen will be distracted or looking bad and scene will be looking good in path tracing. But my way of doing the lighting is it will look best in lumen and best in path tracing out of the box. So you just have to go ahead and choose between lit for lumen, path tracing for path tracing and then settings. You don't have to change any material, any light settings, nothing at all. Scene is ready for both scenarios. You have to use, that is the way I prefer doing material and lighting, that the scene is ready for both of these. For an example, just to explain, lumen does support multi-bounce on the light. Like in lumen, the light global illumination can have multiple bounce. But here in path tracing, it will only be once. So we have to take consideration from the beginning only. Do the lighting in a way, use post-process for that to get things done, and then scene will be ready for both scenario out of the box. So in that case, we will change this to 7, change this to 256. If your graphic card is a little bit slower, then change this to 64 or maybe 128 or 32, just for preview purpose. Max path intensity to 1. Always, and then keep the denoiser on. And then here in this post-process valves at the end, make sure infinite extent unbound is on. Otherwise, all these settings which we have activated will only be restricted to the size of the post-process volume, which is like this. Anything that is inside this will be affected, not outside. But if it unbound, everything in the same, like the entire whole level will be affected by this post-process volume. Will collapse all this, and then post-process setting is done. So as you can see, before even I start adding any light, we are done with the basic post-process settings, setup, optimization, basic system optimization, collision, setting up the project settings, then going on level and adding the plugins and all the plugins that we have already activated, which we will be needing for rendering. So as you can see, before we start lighting, we have done lots of things over the way or on the way. After all this, we are now ready for doing the lighting of the scene. Okay,